Absolutely. Jealousy is a human emotion, and we shouldn't be so hard on ourselves when we face jealousy.
Right.
But it's really a signal to ourselves that that person has something that we want. Get curious about that.
Like, you left your fiance, who was probably your best friend, the house because you guys lived together, and this life that you had mapped out that was going good to completely now live on your own, be single. Like, I can't even
It was
comprehend.
very disorienting. This is going to be the worst year of your life, Anna. If you call this off, this is going to be the worst year of your life. Like, be prepared for that. Because people, when you blow up your life, like a call off your wedding, not everyone understands it. But an amazing thing happened, which is after I actually did it, even though I couldn't even imagine what like the next day was going to look like. After I did it, my body just knew it was the right answer. I started sleeping again. I started eating again. I thought it was going to be the worst day of my life. I felt so much relief.
What's up, my Yes Tribe? Welcome back to the Yes Life Show. Thank you for saying yes and joining me in the studio today. The Yes Life Show is all about sharing ideas and people that will help you get to your yes life. Now, if you're like, Jess, what is the yes life? Well, it's the life you truly love. It's when you are able to say, yes, this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, who I'm supposed to be with. It's when you get to discover your own purpose. And today I am so excited for the guest in the studio today who said yes to join us, Anna Wood. She is a total female empoweress, intuitive life and business coach. I mean, girl boss, you're just a serial entrepreneur. Very inspiring, very inspirational. I just can't say enough about you. So thank you so much for joining me. And she has the most amazing blog, Brains Over Blonde. She's blonde. But more importantly, she's very smart. She has the brains.
It's kind of like a play on brains over.
Yeah, or brains over blonde. Blondes, yeah. So thank you so much for joining me.
Of course, thank you for having me. So excited to chat with you.
We have a lot to talk about when it comes to you because you were in corporate, you were working for Netflix, Google, all these corporate companies.
Yep.
And then you basically made the transition and now you have this digital sisterhood, Flex Your Female, you have a blog, just tell us all about it.
Sure. Wow. Well, it was a winding path for sure. And it all seems clearer in retrospect, kind of how I got to where I am today.
Yeah.
But I think the common thread throughout was that I was always really passionate about empowering other people and seeing their potential and kind of pulling it out of them. And I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur from a very young age. Apparently, I was saying that I wanted to be an entrepreneur when I was like 3. I don't know how I knew that word. So I knew I wanted to start my own business. And I had, as many of us do, been through a lot of bullying and weight gain when I was younger and really learned how to empower myself, how to lose weight, how to love my body, how to treat myself. And so I went to work at Google basically because I just wanted to learn as much as possible. And that's where I thought I could learn the most. And I worked on a lot of different teams there, but my real passion was kind of the stuff I was doing on the side, which was diversity training and coaching. I started coaching health and wellness, other people that wanted to lose weight. Mm-hmm. And so I went to business school at Stanford knowing I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I took every entrepreneurship class I could.
Yeah.
I thought I was maybe going to be like a diversity consultant or start like a weight loss app or something. I don't know. I just kind of naturally assumed it would be tech. And my creative side started coming out. I started writing and I started realizing oh shit, this is the business. I can reach way more women through social media than through diversity training, which a lot of people don't enjoy that much. So I came up with this personal brand, Brains Over Blonde. And at the same time in business school, I was training to be a coach, a life coach and a business coach. And so when I started out, I would coach women in these 3 different silos, like health and wellness or business and entrepreneurship and branding or lifestyle, confidence, that sort of thing. And I realized very quickly that no matter what women would come to me for, first of all, people aren't that great at diagnosing what their own issue is.
Exactly, yeah.
And And secondly, everything is so intertwined. Like if you're launching a company, you need to be taking care of your body and vice versa. So I came up with this concept of Flex Your Female, which is all about starting with inner growth and realizing that your body is a vessel and that your mind is a weapon, and learning how to set boundaries in relationships, learning how to make a vision for your life and how to execute on it, and then really stepping into your power as the queen that you are. So that's kind of how it all came to be what it is now. I coach women and help them really find their yes life.
Yeah.
So we are very well aligned.
I know. I was like, I need you on my show because you are finally living your yes life.
Yes.
And I know that this past year, not even a year, has just, you have done like almost like a 180, like a 360. And you called off your wedding.
Yeah.
And I know that that was a big, I couldn't even imagine, like, how did you do that? Like, what was it that you were like, I don't see a future with you?
Yeah, so that was tough. I called off my wedding last summer. And I got engaged pretty much the same time I started my company. It was a wild week. Like, I graduated from business school, I moved to LA, I got engaged, and I started my company. My fiance quit his company and started business school.
Just go all in,
yeah,
right?
And so I had a lot of doubts, honestly, from the beginning of when we got engaged. But it was really hard to put my finger on what those were. And it was natural that I would have anxiety because I had left all my friends and family. I was starting a company. I was really busy. I was building this new life here. And so it was hard to pinpoint exactly where my anxiety was coming from. But I would stay up all night researching bridal anxiety. And anytime I tried to tell anyone, like, I'm kind of having some doubts here, people would say, like, oh, but you have the perfect relationship. Like, shut up, basically. You're being annoying.
Oh, gosh.
And I understand where they were coming from, because there were a lot of amazing things about our relationship. And I know not everyone would have made the choice that I did. And I think I actually could have had a good life.
Yeah.
Had I decided to go down that path. But you don't have to go down the path that you've always planned.
Right.
And I call it now an escalation. And an escalation can happen in your career, it can happen in relationships. But basically what that means is you start down this path, maybe you get a job out of college, or maybe you start dating some guy, and then you get more serious, and then you move in together, and then you get engaged, and you just kind of always, as long as things are going pretty well, you just keep going to the next step.
Yeah.
And same thing with your job. Like, okay, I'll get promoted. Okay, I manage people now. And you just kind of go along this path without really stopping to think, like, wait, is this
what
the
I
elevator I even want to be on?
Right.
And so I had that moment, like, is this the elevator I really want to be on? And by leaving the corporate world and starting my business and following my passion, I really opened up to, like, what possibilities really were.
Yeah.
And what actually was fulfilling to me, what I actually loved, and where I was going with my life. And as that was happening, we moved further and further apart. And I think I was tethered back in some ways, like wanting to keep this relationship, but not realizing how it was affecting all these other parts of my life as well. So this is something I wrestled with for a year. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. I called off my wedding fairly last minute.
What's last minute? Like,
it was like a month and a half before. Oh my gosh. It blew up my whole life. I didn't know where to live.
I was gonna say, I can't even, like, I feel like people, they get stuck in the comfort zone because it's safe and it's easy. And it's, this is like, you left your fiance, who was probably your best friend, the house, because you guys lived together, and this life that you had mapped out that was going good, to completely now live on your own, be single. Like, I can't even
It was very disorienting. And I see so many women do this too, where they're like, well, I have a good thing going, I don't want to lose this, because they're coming from a scarcity mindset. Like, will I ever find love again? Will I ever, like, I had those same doubts, trust me. And it was really hard to give that up. And I remember telling myself, this is going to be the worst year of your life, Anna. If you call this off, this is going to be the worst year of your life. Like, be prepared for that. Because people, when you blow up your life, like a call off your wedding, not everyone understands it, and it affects a lot of people.
You're like giving me butterflies.
Yeah, it brings up stuff for me even now. But now I lost my train of thought.
No, you're fine.
It brings up a lot. And I thought, like, this is going to be the worst year of my life. This is going to be really hard. I have nowhere to live. I'm going to be rebuilding everything. I'm heartbroken. I lost my best friend. But an amazing thing happened, which is after I actually did it, even though I couldn't even imagine what like the next day was going to look like. After I did it, my body just knew it was the right answer. I started sleeping again. I started eating again. I thought it was going to be the worst day of my life. I felt so much relief. And
that's when you know, like,
yeah, because your body speaks to you, and
yeah,
your inner voice
gut
speaks to you.
Like when you look back, was there something that triggered you to kind of look back and be like, is this the elevator I really want to keep going up on?
It was more like a series of moments.
Yeah.
And I think at the time I just wasn't as trusting of my intuition as I am now.
Right.
And so I wanted more of a hardcore, tangible answer as to why we weren't compatible, and I just wasn't finding that.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I was looking for it. Like I actually wanted something bad to happen almost so that I could have a reason to point to.
Yeah.
But that wasn't happening. And so I really had to look inside of myself and get the strength and courage to do this. And I know it was the right decision. That became clear very quickly.
Yeah. So looking back, like, are there questions for maybe people watching, like, that they could ask themselves, like, is this the life I want to go live? Like, is this my yes life? Like, are there questions that you now looking back can maybe help us figure out if...
Yes. This is something I've thought about a lot. And a lot of women ask me this question. They'll reach out to me on Instagram and say, I'm thinking of calling off my wedding. I read, your blog post on it. It's like, I could have written it myself. This is me. Like, what should I do? Should I call off my wedding? Like,
you have to go in.
You have to go inward. I don't know the answer, but it sounds like you do.
Yeah. You know what? I think that when life is supposed to flow.
Yeah.
Life is supposed to be easy. And so when it's not, I feel like there's a reason, and you need to recognize that.
Exactly. And people that resonate with my story are resonating with it for a reason. And so I always ask them to ask yourself, like, what about this resonates with you? And I also think, like, your inner voice is something that will continue to resurface. So if you're having doubts, but they come and go, and, it's not like the same doubt always bubbling up. Maybe it's just a fleeting thought or a thought loop that you have. But when it's your intuition, it's something that constantly keeps coming to the surface. So I was looking for answers everywhere else. I would, go online looking for advice. I hired a therapist. All these people just basically would tell me, like, go ahead and get married. He's an amazing guy. And then I'd feel better for like a couple hours. And I'd be like, okay, good. Didn't want to have to call off my wedding. What a nightmare. And then a couple hours, I'd be back again. And I couldn't sleep again. And it was as soon as I made the decision that everything started flowing again. So just getting practice listening to your inner voice. Like, I've really woken up spiritually since this whole experience, and I meditate every day. Now I do yoga every day. Everything that quiets the mind will help you listen to your heart. And so now tapping into my intuition is a daily practice.
Right. And what are some tools or ways that you can really tap into your intuition and go inward?
Yeah.
And take the time to listen to your body.
Yeah. So yes, everything in our body is speaking to us. This is so exciting.
You love this.
I love this. Everything in our body is speaking to us. If you have a cramp in your leg, that's your body telling you need more potassium. Same thing with that inner voice inside of you. Some people call it the voice or God's voice, whatever your beliefs are.
Yeah.
For me, I think of it as my soul. That is the true you, the core of you. When you strip everything else down, when you strip off the stories that you've told yourself your whole life, when you strip off the exterior, that true you is the inner compass that you should always follow, I believe, in every aspect of your life. But it can be really hard to hear your inner voice when your mind is so loud all the time and we're constantly stimulated by the media. So anything that quiets your mind, for some people it's art, for some people it's surfing, for some people it's just like going for a hike. Meditation and yoga work wonders.
Yeah.
I know everyone says that, but it's like, it's true.
Did you just get into meditation and yoga, or have you always done?
I've been like intermittent. Well, yoga I've done more, but it was more an exercise practice.
Yeah.
Now it's very inward for me and meditative. It's both.
Right. And do you have like a morning routine? Do you meditate in the morning?
I do now, which is hilarious because you guys,
I'm all about morning routines.
I used to get really like pissed in interview, not pissed, but like people would be like, so what's your morning routine? It's like, standard interview question. I'm like, I hate the morning. Like, I don't have a morning routine. And I always just felt awkward about it. I have a morning routine, you guys. I'm excited to announce.
You're like, I have a morning routine. I have finally discovered it.
Yeah, morning routine's so important. It sets the tone for your whole day. And
totally.
People had told me that my whole life, and I just didn't really resonate. And I think you can get by for a really long time if you're a high functioning, productive person without having a morning routine. And then you get to a certain level where you look around and you're looking at the people that you look up to and the people you emulate, and you realize they all have morning routines and there's something to this. And
yeah, there's a reason.
I started doing it, and it changed my whole life. So first of all, I'm such a night owl. So part of my morning routine is just like not going to bed at 4 a.m.
Oh my God. Okay, 4 a.m. I'm like, I feel like I never get to bed before midnight. It's like impossible.
Oh, it's impossible for midnight. Yeah. Midnight is my goal, midnight.
Yeah.
Usually it's like closer to 1, but I'm a creative mind. My mind comes alive at night. That's when I want to start writing. That's when I want to start doing art. That's like, I love it. It's like no one else is awake and I can just get into my zone.
Oh my God, you and I too. Like, the day is like when I want to be outside and socializing and like be a little social butterfly. And when I'm home and it's like dark out and I'm in front of my computer, that's when I'm like my creative, like get shit done stuff.
Totally. And there are a lot of studies that show that, especially for creative people. So I didn't want to get rid of that altogether. But I also didn't like waking up in the morning and feeling like I already had so much stuff to catch up on. I used to wake up like just in time for whatever I had to do first. Now that time in the morning is like my sacred time. So I live on the beach. I have a great place to meditate. I like to go to the ocean every morning. Lately it's been kind of rainy, but go to the ocean, meditate. I'm really big on if you've read the book On It, it's Aubrey Marcus, on getting light movement and water, light movement, hydrate first thing every morning, set your circadian rhythm. So I do that. I usually do a little bit of journaling. Sometimes turns into a blog post. Usually it doesn't. It's just kind of, for me, it's a stream of consciousness, which, by the way, is another great way to tap into your intuition, is to just ask yourself a question and let the pen flow. No just judgment. Go.
Yeah.
You might start by writing your grocery list. It doesn't matter, but just see where it takes you.
Whatever comes to your head, just write it down.
With no judgment of it. And you can destroy it afterwards.
And you know what? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is that something don't get a cute journal, because just get like a shitty journal, and that way it's like whatever, like you're not thinking about like, oh, what if someone reads this? Or like literally just throw it out after.
Right,
burn
exactly.
it, whatever. Just put it down on paper.
Yeah, it's literally like a channeling system to just get it all out.
Yeah.
So I'll do that. I like to lately I've been really into matcha. I used to make coffee, but now I guess I make matcha at home.
I feel like I'm talking to myself right now. Okay, so keep going. Love matcha.
Yeah.
Because coffee, for some reason, it makes me break out. Like I have very acne-prone skin. So coffee made me break out, so I switched to matcha.
For me, it's jittery. It's so funny. So I went to Starbucks before this. I put this on, for those that have watched my story today will know that I went to Starbucks to get my cold brew, which I haven't drinking coffee in a few weeks. You can see how jittery I am. Coffee just doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
But I took my coffee, went home, went to put my almond milk in it, and accidentally put egg whites in my coffee, which I feel like
please tell me you didn't have a sip.
I did. It's like protein. It's good for you to drink egg whites.
Just liquid.
It was actually good. Yeah, like.
Oh, actually, there's some like cocktail drinks that legit like they crack an egg and well, extra protein.
I think I'm on the cutting edge.
Oh, it's
of
like
coffee now.
True bulletproof coffee. It's now egg white coffee.
TM, guys.
Oh man, that's so funny. You know, you actually just, speaking of blogs, she has an amazing blog, Brains Over Blonde. You just posted a blog post about how you can turn jealousy into positivity. Mm-hmm. And I loved that. And can you just kind of share? Because I feel like everyone gets jealous about something or someone or whatever.
Yeah.
But to be able to turn that into positivity, I feel like that's so powerful.
Absolutely. Jealousy is a human emotion, and we shouldn't be so hard on ourselves when we face jealousy.
Right.
But it's really a signal to ourselves that that person has something that we want. Get curious about that. Like, okay, what can you do about that? Rather than putting negative energy towards that person, can you channel that energy to be a positive growth experience for yourself?
Yeah.
And I want everyone to know, like, people see me as this, like, you know, I love all women. I would never have jealousy. That's not true. Of course I do. And it keeps myself in check to not judge myself and just see, like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Why?
I admire her, actually.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah. It's like anxiety, like almost use anxiety as a tool to be like, okay, so why am I feeling anxious right now? Like, go inward.
Totally. Same with fears. Like, when I am fearful about something, that's my signal to myself that I really care about it.
Yeah, or that you might be going down the right path, because change, life happens outside your comfort zone.
Hell yeah.
You're like, Love it. I love it. Okay, so I posted on my Instagram, and I got some questions from my followers for you.
All right, let's hear 'em.
One of them was, as a blonde, do you feel like you have to work extra hard to kind of prove yourself?
Yeah, I used to feel that way.
Yeah.
For sure. It's sort of like an uphill battle, feeling this stereotype that you think people have about you. And definitely, especially when I showed up at business school, I looked really different than most of my peers. And I felt like I had to work 10 times as hard to prove myself as legit.
Yeah. I just I keep having Legally Blonde
I know.
flashbacks. And her last name's Wood.
Yeah, I've got an Elwood jokes like my whole life. I know I have that vibe. So, but what I realized was this story that I had that people were judging me for being blonde or had stereotypes about myself that really wasn't serving me, because I was walking in with a chip on my shoulder. I had this idea that maybe people were judging me or didn't think I was as smart, and that can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you can overcompensate the other direction, or you can walk in with a chip on your shoulder, and then people really will be like, yeah, I was right about her.
Yeah.
So now I don't worry so much about what other people think. It's a practice, and it's taken a lot of work, but I am so much happier when I'm just myself. And when you're yourself, your true light shines through, and it's a lot easier for people to see you for who you are rather than trying to fight someone's stereotype of you by overcompensating in a different way. Just be yourself. Some people won't like it, but that's okay. Like, those aren't your people.
Yeah, just be you.
Yeah.
Yeah, your vibe attracts your tribe.
Exactly.
I love that saying. And you are proof positive. Just don't wait, just create. You can create your yes life.
Yes.
So is there any last words or anything you want to share with anyone else?
Ooh, last
if
words.
Someone wants to, because you have an amazing blog, you have a coaching program, if someone wants to dive in and become that entrepreneur that they've maybe always wanted, what advice would you give them?
Okay. Well, two things come to mind. First of all, if you're thinking about creating something, starting a blog, just begin, just start. Because I see so many women being like, well, she's doing it better, or she got a head start on me, or mine's not perfect yet. Well, guess what? Even if you got it to be perfect, which is never going to happen, as soon as you get to that point, you're going to launch and you're going to learn so much. The learning curve's so steep, you're going to want to change it all.
Yeah.
I used to be so proud of my website. Now I can't wait to redo it all. It makes me cringe when I look at it.
You have to start somewhere.
You have to start somewhere. So that's the first thing. Second thing is get more flexible with the idea of who you think you are, because so often we define ourselves by who we've been in the past or certain accolades that we had. I used to define myself by, I went to Berkeley and Stanford and I worked at Google, and this is who I am. And that's kind of like a blonde thing too. I'm I want people to respect me. This is my street cred,
Right.
And
I got brains too.
Yeah. But now I see that those are just labels. You are not your past. You are only who you are in this exact moment. And if you focus too much on who you've been in your past, that's just going to be who you continue to be forever, because whatever you think about influences your action. Thoughts become things. So if you're thinking in my past, I've been someone who can't keep a serious relationship or can't be the weight that I want.
Yeah.
You will continue to play that out over and over again in your life. Whereas rather than focusing on your past, you focus on the present and where you're going and who you're becoming.
I love it.
You will show up much differently in the world.
Yeah.
So let go of who you think you are, focus on who you want to become, and start showing up as that person.
Yeah. And even the people you want to surround yourself with, the communities you want to be a part of. Yeah.
Exactly.
Totally. And then tell us about Flex the Female.
Yeah, Flex Your Female. So that's, how I was saying, I realized all of these parts of ourselves are so intertwined, whether it be health or wellness or business or whatever. So Flex Your Female is my coaching program. And it all starts with going inward first, because I've just found that no matter what type of issue a woman comes to me with, whatever they're working on, it all starts with inner love. Learning how to treat your body like a vessel. Like I said, this is our meat suit that we walk around in.
Yeah.
This is
our meat suit.
It's seriously though, this is the vessel that allows us to do everything else. So usually we start with talking to our body, nourishing, fueling our body, then going inward with the mind and doing the same thing, learning how to use your mind to manifest things. And then we get into the visionary power, which is all about creating this plan and vision for your life. A lot of times women want to do that right away. And I used to let them do it right away, but then once they got to really know themselves and peel back the layers and saw how powerful they are, they changed everything.
Yeah.
So
that's a cool exercise. Even to have them do it at the beginning.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
And then have it do a comparison.
I don't want them to get anchored on their first ideas, though. It's kind of the thing. But then we execute on it and revamps their whole relationships, their life, and their personal brand, and all of these things. So now I have a Flex Your Female sisterhood, because
Ooh.
The other thing I found was that so many women that are interested in personal development and becoming their highest self and that are super ambitious, a lot of times they grow out of their friend groups and they want that community of other women that have that in common and are cheering them on and that they can lean on. So I created a sisterhood, which is...
It is on a digital
It's a digital sisterhood. Yeah, we meet on Wednesdays via video. They have one-on-one coaching, also group coaching, and then we do live trainings every week, and it's magical.
So how can me and everyone else join this sisterhood?
Yeah, so if you go, on brainsoverblonde.com, or if you go to flexyourfemale.com, you can put your name on the list to be notified when we're opening the next round.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me in studio.
Jess.
I am so excited. I finally got to meet you in the flesh. We've been
talking for a while.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm just as excited as you guys are. But thank you for saying yes and showing up today. And I will see all of you guys in the next video. Make it a great day. Bye.
Bye.